Hello, everyone, and welcome to another meeting, which is called Pack Help Talks. Today, we're tackling very exciting topic because we will be talking about food e-commerce. And for that, we have invited very special guests. We have invited Browniegod, their team, their founders, and their marketing manager. I will welcome them in a second, but first, let's kick off with some interesting facts, because I don't know if you're following the trends, but actually food e-commerce is one of the fastest growing markets of all e-commerce. And that is because our habits, how we eat, how we order online, are changing. And so more and more customers are feeling convinced that ordering food online in all shapes and forms is actually safe and good. And so that is why today we'll be talking about food e-commerce. And as I mentioned earlier, we have special guests with us today from Browniegod. So let me welcome them to our today's talk. I'll be adding them to the live stream. Hi, Kanita. So we have Kanita with us. We have Sumaya. Hi, I'm not sure if we can hear you.
Sorry. Hi.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes.
It's
And
great to be here. Thank you for having us.
No worries. I'm actually super excited. I feel like I've known you because I've been stalking all your social accounts for the past few weeks, and I've been learning as much as I can about Browniegod. And you're so transparent. You show a lot about your business, and I think that's something that people love about your brand.
Yeah.
And we have Janice with us. Hi. Hello. I'm not sure if Janice
I'm not
is
sure if
hearing
you can
us.
hear us.
Yeah.
Can you hear us? Janice, can you hear us? Oh, maybe he's facing some technical difficulties.
Yeah, no worries. We have Uger, so I think that's a good start, because obviously I want to learn everything about the beginnings of the brand, because you're not a very old brand. You only have like 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe a little bit less. So Kanita, I think you're the person to talk about the story, how this whole business got started, and tell us everything about the beginnings.
So it actually started out because I personally have always had a passion for baking and all things sweet. So I was actually in uni doing film studies, and I dropped out. Really wanted to do something like a business in food, but wasn't too sure what. Then it was actually my brother Janice who really enjoyed my brownies and was like, why aren't we doing brownies? Like they're quite simple to make, and we thought it was a bit of an untapped market. Like there's a lot of brownies out there, but we thought, how can we bring brownies to another level? You see all these amazing cakes, grand designs, and brownies were just like plain brown squares, nothing interesting. So we just saw, I guess, some potential there. And then we went on from there, built a website, and found it very difficult to obviously bring in customers. Like we were in this void. We were just like a small like dot in a void. So then we found it a bit difficult on the internet. We were just posting stuff on Instagram every now and then. So we started out with markets, and that was like our newfound success. They were going great. We had one in St. Paul's, and then we were opening another one, and then obviously COVID hit. That was like quite intense and scary because obviously we were doing well with the markets, and then everything had to shut down, and it all came crumbling down quite quickly. So that like fear hit in, and we were like, okay, we really need to do something. Let's go full force with social media, and let's try and, you know, keep this alive via the internet. So then, you know, in the meantime, I was on TikTok. My brother was encouraging me all the time to post on TikTok, post on TikTok. And I did, but I kind of found it difficult to find myself at first. And then it was one video that went viral that then, you know, created like this domino effect. So I was hoping it wasn't, but I thought it might be a one-hit wonder. And then it was just kind of like one video went viral, then the next one would go even more viral. And now, like to date, we have a video that's hit 15 million views. So every time that they go viral, and they just seem to be like shocking us with how big the the views have become. So yeah, definitely then from there, I think we kind of then understood what our audience enjoys to see. And I think the reason that TikTok was so good was that we were able to show like our behind the scenes, how everything works. And I think, you know, people enjoy seeing how something is built, and kind of to see that there's people behind these products. They're not just products. So then from then on, I think we were just able to kind of like grow on that and share more. And so far, that's how it's been. I think I've mentioned everything.
Yeah, let's just close this live stream. I think we're all good now. Yeah, but so many interesting things that I want to ask you. But let's start with still the early days, because obviously as a pack help, we have in our followers base and among our customers both more mature businesses like yours, but also many wannabe entrepreneurs or people who are just starting their passion projects. Yeah. So if you could share a little bit about the early days, what was the most difficult, and what was the kind of a breaking point for the business? When did you realize, okay, this is for real, we're going from a passion project to a serious business now?
So I would say in the beginning, we had like operations difficulties, but then we also had like difficulties with growing the business and just making sure that everyone knows about us. So things that it's quite funny, because our problem at the beginning was with packaging, because we send with normal like post. They have to be really durable, the boxes, to make it out on the other end. And then we wanted to do things like inserts so that the packaging looks a bit more beautiful. So we definitely had an ongoing struggle with packaging. And sometimes it can be a bit demotivating when in the beginning people receive their items and they're not how you want them to be. So it was definitely very much a trial and error. None of us have ever started a business before, especially with food. So it was a very much trial and error, trying out a packaging, seeing it doesn't work. Okay, let's try again, which is quite difficult, because with a lot of companies, you know, until we found Pack Help, they don't offer like such a small quantity for you to just test out and then to make a decision. So you had to commit to quite a few boxes and then decide that actually we're probably never going to use this. So that was one like hurdle that, you know, even today, like we're trying to obviously constantly improve. So that's definitely like an ongoing project. The other thing, I guess, in social media was definitely the struggle was to grow, because, you know, when you start off, like, let's say on Instagram or even TikTok, it's just by chance that people will come across your things. So it was definitely deciding what the best way to share our products would be. Like, that was difficult to find. But then, you know, once a video of ours went viral, we kind of got the sense of, okay, people like more of this. But, you know, sometimes it's interesting saying that, because sometimes those things that work, they'll work once, but they won't work again. So even when we tried to recreate that kind of video, so our first one that went viral was just me, like I was playing with Nutella, because we have these big tubs in our bakery. And then I tried to recreate something with other products, but it didn't necessarily work. So yeah, I think it's just trying things out, seeing what video or what like people are going to enjoy, which is always like, it's a constant challenge, you know. We don't get it right every time, but we just still have to try everything. I think the moment that we kind of realized that this is for real was, it was probably around December time, Christmas time. We were in our home, so everything was done at home, in our kitchen, and we would have to hire people in our own home to work with us. And we just were working from a small oven, and we would find that our oven was on for about 12 hours because every time something was done, it was straight in. And, you know, a small oven can only handle so much capacity. So I think at that moment, when we realized that it was consistent, that then we decided that, okay, we can actually go forward with this. And then we moved into a kitchen where we are now.
Hi, Janice.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so glad to be back, everyone.
Because I'm really curious about your perspective on the early days and what were the challenges for you. Because from what I understood, doing some research, you are responsible for operations. So what was the biggest challenge for you in the early days?
I would definitely have to agree with Kanita in terms of, because we're all kind of new to business, so it started off a bit of like a hobby, turned into a business. So one of our biggest challenges was actually packaging. Like Kanita said, if you can imagine, our brownies are like these beautiful things, and then we're going to give it to like a delivery man who's going to put like a TV on top of our brownie boxes, and how do you make those brownies survive? So that was one of the biggest challenges for us, and it was great that we actually got to work with Park Help and they could offer their specialists to offer solutions. I guess one of the second thing that you find like as a business owner is delegating work. And we've actually got Somay on this call who's now our marketing manager. But I think as a business, when you're starting up, it's always hard to pass on the work to someone else. So like we're like very enthusiastic and keen about the way we do things. So Kanita's been managing the marketing. So now being able to pass over to Somaya was difficult, but now it's been really rewarding because it means that Kanita can be free up to do more content and I can be free to do more stuff and we can kind of grow the business there.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan to me. So Sumaya, since you've already been called out, let's say, tell me, when did you join the team and why did you decide to join Browniegod and what you're doing?
So I actually joined only 2 months ago and I saw their Channel 4 documentary, which it really inspired me, and I followed Kanita for a few months prior to joining. So I thought like I would reach out and just ask if they needed any help with marketing because I'm a marketing student. And because I was just inspired by them, I thought, let's just do it. And then we had a meeting over Zoom or Google Meet or something. And we just said like, I would take on some roles, and now I've become the permanent marketing manager. And it's been really good. I've really enjoyed it. It allowed me to like put my marketing into practice and really like learn on the job. So I do like the Instagram, Facebook, and sometimes YouTube, but Kanita still does the TikTok because she's really good at it. So I help with the Instagram and like email marketing mainly.
Okay, so now we have everyone officially kind of sharing a little bit about what you're doing for the Browniegod, and I guess everyone by now should be in love with your team. And in case you're not, just open their TikTok because this is where you really fell in love with the brand and the team. So we mentioned a little bit, Kanita already mentioned that, how you started transitioning to really paying focus to social media and posting a lot of content that is showcasing your products. So Kanita, can you tell a little bit more about this process? Like maybe where did you get the inspirations from, or like how did you came up with all these ideas?
That's a really good question. Honestly, in terms of inspiration, I think that now there's much more like food businesses like on TikTok. So, and just, you know, on other platforms. So for inspiration, it was actually other different types of products I would look at, you know, inspiration for products. Sometimes I would even find, you know, from makeup because of the vibrant colors or like the packaging. So I think just like things that I enjoyed to see, you know, I've always loved to see behind the scenes of how things happen. And I think that that's the things that people don't get to see so much. So I think the one video that we realized that did really well was just me in my early days creating a box of brownies and then packing it. And people were just so fascinated by that small process. So I don't know. I think that like a lot of the content that also comes out are like requests from people to see more. Like sometimes people ask for random things, like because our brownie trays are now like they're massive. They're like over 1 meter long, and people ask, "How do you even wash those?" So things like that, where necessarily, I don't think I would ever necessarily think to share, oh, here, this is what our sink looks like. But then even something like that, people receive it well. They're like, oh, wow, like, because it's so different to their daily, you know, their daily small sink. Our sink is big, like it can fit me inside of it. So I think in terms of inspiration, there's definitely a lot of inspiration out there. And even like platforms like Pinterest are great for inspiration. But I think that, you know, if I would give advice to anyone, it would be to not limit yourself just within your own category. Look for inspiration beyond your category. So for instance, with us, with food, like looking at things like even like soaps or, you know, perfume boxes, and just applying that maybe to your own field and seeing if you can like push those limits.
That's a very good advice. I think sometimes we kind of box ourselves into, oh, I'm doing this type of business, so I can only, you know, look up the certain inspirations. I'm loving this. Can you give us a little bit sneak peek of behind the scenes work on your content? How does it look like? Are you sitting down with Samaya and then you're having like a brainstorm session? Are you planning it, or is it more spontaneous? Because I know people are very interested about these details. And speaking about the people that are watching us, I want to encourage everyone that's with us live to ask us questions. We are actually able to see them. They will appear on our streaming platform. So if you have any questions, this meeting is for you and for you to get answers about your business ideas or your struggles. So yeah, don't be afraid. Now, going back to the content production and how you're actually working on a daily basis with marketing and content.
Yeah. So I think marketing is a very broad thing in general. So if we look at marketing as a whole, all three of us work on it. One thing that Janice and Samaya work really closely with is email marketing. And I think I can let Janice talk a bit about that, because there's a lot of untapped potential that I think I didn't even realize that email marketing had, but he saw that. So Janice, I don't know, maybe you want to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so like we said, we're all quite new to the business. So me and Samaya have recently been working on the emails, and because we've been growing a lot of following on TikTok, we've seen a lot of big opportunities on email just because it's mainly free. And unlike other social media platforms which have an algorithm where like one day you'll be getting like 1 million views and the next you'll be getting like 10K views, like email list will always be there. So yeah, me and Samaya have been working on that, trying to create more content, just because, you know, if you create an email list, it's always going to be there. And yeah, we've been seeing quite a lot of growth on there, generating quite good amounts of money. Like we only started, 2 months ago, Samay, and like we've been able to make good amounts of money from email, like, and we don't even spend that much time on it.
Yeah, I think one of the things with email is that we wanted to not only sell our products, but we wanted to form a relationship with our customers and like establish more of a connection with them. So we use emails to kind of show more of like, so today we're putting out an email about our ingredients and our quality. We're not just like pushing products all the time. So it's more like a two-way relationship. Like we get responses from our emails, sometimes saying like, I bought a brownie because of this email, and it does work. It definitely does work, and we've got 10,000 people on our email list, so we have quite a good amount of people to reach out to as well.
And I would just add, if anyone's like at the start where it's just you by yourself, it's also about thinking how you can recycle content. So even at this stage, when there's like 3 of us working on the marketing, we always think about how can we, if Sumayya's got this idea of talking about the ingredients, how can we use the stuff that Sumayya's doing into TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other platforms, and rather than just creating like one piece of content for one platform, which you'll be spending more time doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say because you asked a bit about also like the process of how it works. I would say that the process, so when it comes to my TikToks, when I'm dealing with the TikToks, I think it's just we see if there's anything like trending, you know, because sometimes like, for instance, right now the Euros are on, or like things to do like seasonal things like Christmas or whatever. So that very much can drive our content. But when there's nothing for us to really focus on, it will just be us trying to make new releases, seeing what the response is. You know, sometimes it's quite interesting because with TikTok, because it's such a big platform, we can come across quite a few negative comments. But we've realized that some of those negative comments can help us out because it creates like little discussion between people. So sometimes we create spark on purpose, obviously nothing too negative, but, you know, just to see what people will say, because sometimes people feel really passionate about something very simple. So, yeah, like in terms of like how we film, now because we have the kitchen, I literally just take my phone and kind of capture what I feel in the kitchen and how the team works and try to build that relationship. So just like recently, I posted a video of everything that has went wrong this month. So like really try to be like super transparent, and I think people really enjoyed that because it puts the light that everything can go wrong, and it, you know, no one's perfect. And so with that, I was able to show like the team's reaction of, you know, when something goes wrong. So yeah, so the process is, and we discuss with each other, you know, if I've posted a TikTok, I then relay this to Sumaya. Sumaya, I've posted about this. Or sometimes she sees it before I even tell her. And then she's very vigilant with it and then thinks, okay, we can draw this into this week's email. Janice then pitches an idea. So that part is very much collaborative. Like we all have our little focuses, but then it all gets blended really well together.
Well done, team. And you've mentioned obviously a bunch of channels that serve you not only for brand building purposes, but you acquire customers through them, like email marketing or social media platforms, like for example TikTok or Instagram. So having now this experience with various platforms, which of them are the most performing in terms of numbers of clients you acquire from them?
I think it goes without saying that definitely TikTok is our number one. So now we collect a lot of feedback forms from our customers, and we found that a vast majority of them are from TikTok, which now, you know, makes sense. But in the beginning, when it started, I think we were with TikTok quite early, as it was still maturing in terms of like the viewers. Like it was around for a while, but I think it was a very young audience. So we managed to get in there just before it really matured. But I personally did not expect to receive orders from TikTok, because my thought was that, everyone on there is very young, but we'll just create brand awareness on there. So it was obviously a pleasant surprise. But I think another thing that caught me personally by surprise was the email marketing. Because when you think about it, you get directly to the customer without any, platform. And like Jenna said, there's no algorithm. So I think that was like a very good one that we didn't even realize the potential of, that's been doing really well.
And just to add to Kanita, I would say the reason TikTok does well in comparison to some of the other platforms is because you can experience like viral growth. So on Instagram, like regardless of how well we've done, we're like 20K followers, and most of them will probably come from TikTok, because it's just like a gradual growth. And the same with the email, like you'll go from like 0 to 100 to 200, whereas like with TikTok, I think we were on like 50 followers for like 12 weeks, and then we went straight to like 50K in like 2-3 days. So, and the organic reach is quite high at the moment. So it's definitely a platform to try and like build on, and then get your followers on TikTok to follow you on the other like traditional platforms like Instagram, email, so that when TikTok gets worse, you've got backup.
All right. Yeah, I think TikTok is also surprising me personally. Like we've opened up our account and there is no recipe to go viral. You just have to try things.
Yeah.
And actually, I think you mentioned us on one of the TikToks, and that's how we started getting like some customers ourselves. That's crazy. So yeah, TikTok is a platform to explore. You luckily have already seems to found your secret sauce and how to appear there successfully. So good job, I guess. Now we touched a little bit on social media and marketing, and I think this is where you're doing extremely well. But I also want to get a little bit on operations and behind the scenes of operations, and how you actually make hundreds of brownies, how you distribute them, the systems, the tools you're using to kind of manage all of that. Because like when I'm thinking about doing, let's say 10 brownies and then distributing them, it seems like a hassle, not to mention again the scale of hundreds or thousands. So not sure if this is to Kanita or Janice. Tell us a little bit how your day-to-day look like, operations-wise. How do you start it? How do you evaluate it? What happens?
Janice, do you want to go or shall I?
So let me give the background. So Kanita actually, so me and Samir work remotely. So Kanita actually manages the kitchen with her team. So she can probably answer, but what you find is we collaborate. Like I'll be like a sounding board for Kanita. So maybe tell them what the process is and how we develop it when we talk together.
Okay, so like if I explain like our day-to-day, we have our team now who deal with making the orders, packing the orders. I think that one thing that helped us to scale a bit more was actually making our products a bit more simple. We found in the beginning that we were letting the customers pick however many flavors they want, however many letters they want, like what colors they want. And I think sometimes when you give the customer too much freedom, they really go wild with it. So it was a bit difficult to, like make a lot of these orders, because it was a lot of, okay, this person wants A, B, C, D, E, and it was making it very difficult in the kitchen for us to manage, because there was absolutely no sense of like rhythm. So I think we've managed to like file it down to our best products that we found people constantly over time. They chose those colors, that flavor, and then we made it a bit more simple. We gave them only a few things to choose from, and that way we know that every time they will come out consistently well, they will look lovely, and the customers have responded well to that, because we managed to capture all of their favorites and kind of just filter it down instead of letting them pick absolutely everything. So yeah, so the team, they come in the morning, they all work together. There's very much a flow to the kitchen of someone cutting the brownies, someone then putting them in the boxes, then the next person gathering the letters or the toppings that they need. And then we also like to divide by section. So, you know, for instance, all the orders with white letters go here, and then, you know, the blue here. So yeah, so I think the way, you know, it was an ongoing battle, but we had to divide into different sections. So that's like a bit about the kitchen.
And just to give background, so like when you're starting off, like we don't really know how to do this, but what you do is, it sounds a bit boring, but it's all about like creating processes. So how are we going to make a brownie? Like Kanita mentioned, like the flow of kitchen. So like I did some reading around like how do like professional kitchens like plan their layout, and it's mainly about like starting off with something, having your like process, seeing how it goes, and then kind of evaluating like where am I spending time, i.e. we will spend too much time in packaging, how can we change that? And then it's just on a weekly basis, if you keep evaluating the same thing, you'll find that it'll get much better. And then it's just a matter of research. And so when we were like, oh, the packaging is taking us too long, we went online, we researched a lot of different packaging that would save us time in terms of like folding. Then we went back to pack help, and we were like, we've got these ideas, what do you think? So it's looking at your process, thinking how it works, how can you improve it, then going out there to seek information to find out how it can be better. If you do that like on a weekly basis over like a year, you'd have made like significant improvements. And I know one of the questions was like some of the online tools. So the main online tool we use is Shopify. That's like our website platform. So people can order through our website, and then we manage our orders there. But then what you do there is then tailor to your business, I guess.
Where do you look for knowledge about the professional kitchens and how they're operating? Is that something that you can find in Google, or where are you going to your favorite cafes and restaurants and just ask them questions? I'm really curious.
Literally, it goes from anywhere. So like personally, I seek knowledge everywhere. Like yesterday, I ordered a kebab, and we wanted to do on a local delivery, and I was asking the guy, how do you deal with like customers that like lie about not receiving your order and stuff like that? So you can find information locally, but if you don't have access to like that kind of information, you can easily search online. There's so many different people you can even reach out. So like, for example, Samir, do you want to tell them about how you reached out to someone about TikTok, even though we do TikTok? Maybe you can give that example.
Which person?
Do you remember last week we got you to contact the guy that manages the classes?
Okay.
But basically, yeah, go on.
We had a bit of stale growth on TikTok for like a week, so we decided to reach out to a TikTok manager kind of thing, and we just asked him, what do you think we could do that could improve our growth, and we don't want to be at this stale point. So he gave us some advice on how we should show more behind the scenes, but also not just pushing products, just showing the organic side of our company. And he gave us some really good advice, and we took it and we put it into action, and we did experience some growth. So after that advice was given, we gained like 4,000 more followers on TikTok. So it definitely works to look at what your customers are wanting and to tailor it, and not just put out the content you want to put out all the time. So that's what we learned from talking.
I think the story there is what I'm trying to highlight is this guy was, so I told Samir to contact this guy manages like a social media agency for TikTok, and he's quite young, and he's got like 80 members of staff, and you're just able to reach out to people nowadays that you couldn't before. You can simply just go on LinkedIn, and you can find people in backgrounds, and maybe not everyone will help you, but if you can give them something in return, like we offered free brownies. If you do a food business, everyone wants like free food for like 10 minutes of advice. Like if I contacted you and I was like, oh, how about I give you like some brownies in return from some advice on communications, you'd probably say like, why not?
Yes, please.
You might even do it for free. So yeah, can you
Yeah, but
search
that's
Google? You can contact people. There's all ways of doing it. Like people ask us questions and we try to respond. So like, yeah.
Okay, we're having questions appearing about the online tools and the tools that help you manage orders and, well, run your business basically. So you mentioned already Shopify. Can you tell a little bit how you're using Shopify? Because obviously it has like tons of features, and maybe throw in some other tools. There is one person asking about the tool you're using to manage orders. I don't know if that goes through Shopify or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just mainly Shopify. So when someone makes an order, you'll have a dashboard and it'll just list all the orders. We also use one tool called Starship It. Well, essentially that tool is it does when you create an order, you then have to make a shipping label, so where it's being sent out to. So if I'm sending it to Somaya, it has Somaya and her address, and all that does is that tool copies the information from Shopify to connect to your like mailing company, like the shipping company. I would say those are the two main tools, and like I said, it just depends on your businesses and what you need. So like if you find that you need specific solutions, I would literally search whatever you're looking for. So like one unique solution that we had to find is when Brexit happened, which is when we left the European Union, our shipping countries changed. So I needed to find an app that allowed me to change like the shipping regions. I literally just wrote on Google what I was looking for and I found it. So if there's anything specific that you need, you would just literally search on Google and I'm sure you'll find something tailored for you.
Yeah, and I think with Shopify that there's so many apps within the Shopify app. So one thing that Janice would do was to literally find these apps, to just Google Shopify shipping app. And they tend to give like a free trial for you to test out the product. And then through that, we were able to find whatever works for us in terms of like shipping and order management. But then other tools that people can use obviously is like LinkedIn, for instance. Janice uses it a lot to find people that have a lot of knowledge that we want to find specifically. So that's obviously a good tool to use.
All right. So I have to ask this because I'm really curious about your future and your plans for Browniegod in a few months, in a few years to come. So not sure who wants to answer this because that's a big one. But yeah, what's next? How do you plan to develop Browniegod?
Janice can start it and then I'll jump in.
I guess our next
No
focus,
pressure though.
I mean, the thing is, like we don't have like set plans. We're kind of like more, we just see what we're feeling. So I think for me personally, something that I'm talking to the team about is how can we develop a physical presence again. So we've become this completely online company, and we've tried our hardest to like build relationship with clients. But I think the next step is going back to physical, like just to have something so we can actually meet our customers, because it's quite difficult. The bad thing with online, it's difficult to build customer relationships when it's all virtual, because I'm dealing with certain people just over email, so I've got like no face to put to them, and it's not the same as like when you have like a regular customer come in and you're always like talking and everything. So for me, that's next, and then just kind of growing our product range and everything.
Yeah, I would like to add to that. I think like our mini plans would also be to, although we do have a big online presence, it would be to kind of grow that, so that people could really see like every aspect of the business. So things that we don't really do so much right now are like live streams. So I think kind of creating like a glass kitchen so that people can see into our bakery and see their product come into life. I think that is like an ultimate goal in the end, for people to be able, even if it's virtual, to be able to kind of be with their order and see it come to life. So that's something that, and engaging like the team, I think we have a really good team. So it'd be great for everyone to even like get to know more of who's creating your product and your order.
Samir, do you have anything to add in regards to the future of our marketing?
I think we kind of just want to continue growing our online presence as much as we can. My focus is to increase Instagram quite a lot, because I feel like whilst TikTok does have a huge amount of followers and it's huge for viral growth, I think Instagram is where our loyal customers are. So I think we want to increase that as much as we can as well.
We can definitely chat about that after this live stream, and I don't require payment in brownies, FYI. Yes, that sounds like great ideas. I love the glass kitchen where people can just, pass your kitchen and see how the brownies are coming to life. But stepping out from Browniegod and looking at the bigger picture of food e-commerce, and obviously you're following other brands that are doing pastries, some desserts, or even just doing other types of food. So I'm wondering what kind of trends you're seeing. For instance, you're capitalizing a lot on personalization and the fact that your customers can add a custom message. What else is out there that other brands can capitalize on? What are the next big thing?
That's a difficult question.
Oh God.
Yeah, I would say that custom products in general, I don't know if it's just because, since we've been doing it, but I have seen a huge growth in it. Even some businesses that can't offer direct customizable product, they always try to somehow within the product maybe add a note or a card or something. So even like a virtual message, I think that everyone wants their product to feel special. And so I think that I've seen a lot of businesses kind of draw on that and really try to make like a tailored experience for the customers. So really making like a personalized, like making their products a bit more personalized, even if they're quite generic.
And I think like one thing that you probably might have, like the viewers might have taken away from this conversation, is about like building transparency. Like that's, I think, a big trend with the small businesses. And it's just like a human to human thing. Like people want to connect with other people. So like seeing what goes behind like a brownie just makes that brownie more exciting, even though like our competitors could easily like copy our brownies, or we could copy any pastry. It's more about like what's behind it nowadays. I think that can definitely help you stand out.
Definitely. Sumaya, do you want to add something from your perspective?
I think one trend that I've noticed is just from my own experience, not just Browniegod, but I think post-friendly products are really like becoming very trending, mainly because of COVID. I think it's quite huge that we can't meet each other or do things in person as much as we used to. So people are sending more gifts through the post, and I think because our products are quite post-friendly and we show like the packaging aspect of our products and stuff, it really helps with COVID. And I think we experienced quite good sales over COVID because of that reason. So I think that's one of the main trends we've found.
We got this really funny video of Kanita like throwing the brownie around, so that's worth checking out.
Yeah, I've seen that one. And I was like, oh boy, I hope this brownie survived, because she was, for those who haven't seen the video, Kanita is just basically taking a padded envelope with a brownie box inside and she's throwing it through the wall. And I was like, oh my God, I hope it's safe. But it was safe, so oof.
That's how she deals with a difficult day.
Yeah, sometimes you receive feedback from customers telling you, oh, just to let you know, my order has been thrown over the fence. So when you get that kind of preparation that this box is literally going to face any kind of destruction, we have to take matters into our own hands and make sure that we're preventing all of those things.
And just to let the viewer knows, like, it's never perfect. So we still, even though we've made so much progress on packaging, we still have like some boxes that crack, and we're currently like in talks with like Pack Help to do like our new packaging that would like take it further. So never be like disappointed by your results, because they're literally never going to be perfect. So the best thing you can do is just try to improve them. And at the start, it'll probably go wrong more than it'll go right.
Yeah, definitely. And it's important to note that just within a year, we're already on our 4th packaging. So we're not shying away from realizing, okay, this doesn't work, let's try something new. So yeah, every time that we think, oh yeah, this is the one, we then see maybe something that can be improved. So definitely, like, it's very trial and error. And like Jenna said, it's never perfect. And I think that once you accept that and just see it as like opportunity to grow, then things will go a bit smoother, because at first it can be very stressful and it can really knock you. But I think as time goes by, we've learned to just look at it as an opportunity rather than something that can destroy us.
I'm loving this hands-on approach. It's like you just tackle one challenge after another and you try to improve just by tiny bits. And then fast forward to today, you're having a very healthy, well-functioning business, it seems. Obviously, there's still probably more and more challenges to come. But I'm just loving this approach, very practical. I think if that's something definitely to be taken away from this live stream. Now, trying to close it up, what would be the last bits of advice for our listeners? Like something you wish someone would tell you before you started Browniegod. Now think about it, because you only have one chance to answer this.
I've already got an answer.
And damn, they came prepared. Okay, so yeah, so before I let you answer this one, a last chance for our viewers to ask questions. So if you have anything, post it in a chat, and we will start answering our closing question, starting with Jenny. So you already have an answer, so.
Yeah, so the first thing that came to my mind is, like, you literally hear this everywhere, so it's nothing new, but like persistence is a key one. And the example I can give is that like we mentioned, we started in market stalls, and like we had a difficult start. We finally got the packaging sorted. Then we went to market stalls. We were selling physically. We were finally growing our market stalls. Then COVID hit. And then personally, I kind of gave up for like 2-3 weeks. So like where we were generating money, like our market stalls, we were making no money anymore. And basically the only thing that kept me going, and there's like 1 or 2 orders that we were getting online. It was like a little heartbeat of like our business, and I was like, shit, there might be some potential there. And if we had given up at that point, like who knows, like Kenita would have just probably gone back to a normal job. But because we persisted in that instance, even though things seemed like they were completely crushed, we were able to grow the business. So I think that was definitely a key point for me. Like, persist. Like, you'd never know when you're like going to catch your break.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think my one would be, I think I wish someone had told me that a lot will go wrong, and every time you think that, yes, that's it, something even bigger and even more challenging will come your way. So I think that very much in the beginning of our business, I spent a lot of sad nights because I would take everything to heart. I'm that kind of person in general. I would take everything so emotionally to heart. If someone wasn't happy, I was like unhappy as well. So I think it's just like an advice would be to know that things are pretty much never going to be perfect, but they'll always get a bit better and you'll always be improving. So I think it's just having that open mind to, if someone doesn't like something, they're not attacking you, but it's just an opportunity for you to do something a bit more differently, and then to like kind of grow from that. And also that everything happens for a reason, because like Jenna said, when COVID hit and our markets were all closed, it was a terrible time, but it initiated this growth. So kind of, I don't know, kind of accept that uncomfortable time and that uncomfortable feeling, and just go with the flow kind of thing.
Sumia, any bits of advice from your perspective? Maybe something about marketing?
I think from an outside perspective, I think like we will always do things wrong, and I think it's important to consider like every company does things wrong. Like even Apple still makes mistakes, Samsung still makes mistakes. So it's don't let someone's negative feedback like ruin your mindset, especially like with content. Like we could put something out and people would be like, why have you put that out? And like, so for example, I put out a thing about the euros and someone replied saying, why are you saying like it might come home? And it's like, it's something so small, but if you let it ruin you, like it could ruin your whole mindset about how you work. But every company makes mistakes, and I think it's important to remember that. Like even Samsung, like their phones were blowing up a few years ago, but they still like carried on. So I think we only make small mistakes, but when we do, we really like put in the motions to make sure it doesn't happen again. So
can I just add one more thing? Sorry, I'd also say to pay attention to your first customers and to not neglect them. I think one thing that Dennis and Sarah do well with the email marketing as well is to make sure that the customers that we do have, that they're happy. Even sometimes if it means that we might lose out on a sale or we have to lose out on money, you know, I think customer satisfaction is really important. And sometimes even if things initially go wrong, but you've resolved it, we notice that in the feedback, even if things have gone wrong, but we've managed to find a good solution, the customer is just as happy as if it went well. And they really pay attention to that. So I think really pay attention to your customers and listen to what they have to say.
It definitely costs less to keep a customer than it is to introduce a new customer. So it's important to keep your repeat customers happy, definitely. We offer like discounts if you're a long-term customer, just to keep those sales going, but also because we care about our customers. And if they give us feedback, we really appreciate like the feedback our long-term customers give us.
Yeah.
I really feel like hugging you all virtually and closing this live stream on that positive note. But we still have a few questions popping up in the chat. So let's try to answer them. This one is about influencers. So are you working with influencers?
You know, I think influencers are a very interesting concept. In the beginning, we worked with quite a few Instagram influencers. And one thing that I would personally say is that micro influencers are very much slept on. I'm saying this because sometimes we would find that some people we would send to that had like 300,000 followers or like more, we would actually receive less engagement from their followers than people that would have like 5,000 followers, which to me was very interesting to see. Because those people that had the 5,000 followers, maybe they had a really close connection with their followers. I mean, it was like a small community. So I would say that, you know, if you do,
can I just add, just to that point, that they appreciate you more as well. Like if you approach someone with 1 million and you're like, here's some free brownies, they're not that excited. But if it's someone that's got like 500 followers, they'll post a story, Instagram feed, everything for you for that brownie, so you get more for your value. So if you approach 5,000 people with 500 followers, you get a lot more results than if you did with like one person.
I definitely agree.
I think sorry.
Go on,
one thing that's important is to look at engagement rate as well, because interaction is really important. Some people with 1 million followers will only get like 50 comments, whereas with 5,000 followers, they might get 100 comments. So you can kind of base that decision of whether they're worth investing in on their engagement rate, especially like we've found like we reached out to an influencer with 300,000 followers and it didn't bring a large amount, but you can kind of gauge it in that kind of way. And it's important, especially with influencers, to associate with people that you have similar points of view with. You don't really want to associate with an influencer who could have a scandal. Like, you don't want that to reflect badly on your business as well, to be associated with that influencer. So it's good to do like background research on them and find out what they're actually producing and their content that they have. Go on, Kania.
Let's move to another one. It's still connected with social media. So digging more into TikTok, I guess.
Yeah.
What is making you grow so rapidly? Is that a music or, I don't know, something else?
I would say all of them. So you can't rely on just one thing to help you grow. It can't just be a viral trend. It can't be a viral sound. And it can't just be just your content. I think you have to do a bit of all, and that's what we did. Sometimes if there's a song that's really popular, sometimes I use it, but then other times it's just about the content that really does well, and the song is actually really rubbish, or I didn't have a song at all. So I think just if you can do all of them, it's like shooting a target with your eyes closed. Just throw a few and one will stick. And you never know what. Like, sometimes I think this video is going to go viral and it doesn't. And other times I literally have created a video just like, okay, I haven't posted anything today, let me just post something. And it was the most simple video that then was like incredibly viral. So yes, I think just trying out. Sometimes maybe do a video that's really thought out. Sometimes do just a more casual video. Like, try a bit of everything. And then I don't think you'll go too wrong there if you have like that nice mix.
And I think content outweighs tactics anyway. So if you focus more on like building good quality content rather than like trying to find tactics, you'll find you'll do better, because you can even though like Kanita said, the song can be like trending and you can have the song that's like so rubbish, but your video can still go viral. So it's not necessarily about like the song you choose, it's more like the actual content at the end of the day, because that's what they're consuming, not like the music.
Yeah.
I think even our first one that went viral was just scooping Nutella. So I think it can change literally just based on what people are interested in. It can be something so small, or it can be a really thought out video for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and let's go to the last one. I swear I didn't post it. It's not me under a nickname. But well, it appeared. So yeah, if you could answer this one.
Yeah, so there's two parts of this, I guess. There's the visual design. So like for that, we did that ourselves. Literally just went on Pinterest. I took inspirations from like luxury brands. So we went for quite a clean, minimalistic look. To do that, all we did is literally we just tried out a few things, printed it out, asked friends which one do you like, what would you change, and then that's how we went till we got to a final design. In terms of like the structures, obviously like we're not experts in this, so again we did research like who can help us. We found some UK brands where we're based that didn't go so well. Then we came across Pack Help. So like I said, literally just some search in Google, built some relationships with like some of the team members. So like there's Anna who helps us quite a lot. And yeah, working with her, we were able to like come up with different packaging. So literally with every problem that you have, it like kind of starts off like from searching online, building relationships, and then trying out things. Like we're on our 4th packaging, so we're still learning and improving things.
Yeah, and for like the design, like Jen said, we would literally like print like how big the packaging is going to be, and then cut out cardboard and stick it to the cardboard to kind of like get a sense of how it would look. Send it to all of our friends, show the team which color scheme do you like more, and just playing around, even like on Photoshop or whatever platform that you're familiar with. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. But yeah, I think that one thing that Janice did well was really like with Pack Help, we've built such a good like relationship with the team, and it really enabled us to like go back and forth, because sometimes it must be a bit frustrating because we're like, oh wait, actually, can we change this? So I think
Anna's definitely not happy.
yeah, yeah, like Anna's been so patient with us. So I think that, you know, even just having that that good like relationship, valuing all of those relationships works out.
Can I add as well for like design? So May, there's one app that I'm sure you would like definitely recommend as a tool.
I think Canva can be really useful. It's free as well for if you don't have the money to pay for the subscription, but it's really useful for creating content. I'd definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I can recommend it as well. Free, simple. What's there to ask? Okay, we're one past, so we were supposed to close this live stream, but I have one last question that I really have to ask because I'm really curious. What's your answer for that? How do you deal with people that lie about receiving their orders?
Oh, so that happens sometimes. It's true. I think that we just kind of like put the customer in a position and kind of say, are you willing to, like, for instance, if there was an investigation open, are you willing to say that you really didn't receive your order? We kind of just also evaluate how worth it is to go back and forth with them. Sometimes if it's just a box of brownies, I don't know, I just cave. I'm like, okay, we'll resend it to you if you're really that angry. Or sometimes people will say, I didn't like my box, I want a new one. Obviously they wouldn't want a new one if they didn't like it. But, you know, sometimes we just want to make people happy. It really depends on what your product is, because if it's obviously like an expensive coat, you can't do that. You don't want to do that. So I think it's just like we go back to the way we send our products. We have full tracking. So going back to the tracking, then speaking with our couriers to see did they provide any evidence of delivery, and if they've all, you know, if all of the dots are connected, then we're like, okay, we can see that this has been provided, this has been provided, this has been provided. Unfortunately, we can't give you what you've asked for.
And there's actually one concept as well, like some customers are just like, you'd be surprised, but like sometimes I'd rather not deal with a customer that's very difficult. I'd rather just make them happy and then never serve them again, because some people can really like drain your energy. So sometimes it's not worth picking a fight and kind of just like accepting that this is like a customer that you don't really want to have. So you serve them, you try to make them happy. In most cases, you still won't make them happy. And it's kind of about just like moving on from them and focusing on customers that like really like your brand, because it's impossible for everyone to like a brand, and there's some people that are just like naturally difficult, or I don't know, like we've tried to make them happy and it just doesn't work. So it's kind of like, it's like similar to how you deal with people. Like some people just never like you, can't change you, just have to kind of like move on.
Yeah.
And moving on, I'm afraid we have to close the live stream, being very respect your time and the fact that you have to go back to running an actual business. So thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge, insights. But I guess what stood out to me the most is your approach and your personality that shines through the business, how open you are, how welcoming and warm people you are. I think this is why now I understand why people love Browniegod, I guess. And for those who joined us a little bit later, just feel free to start the stream from the very beginning. We're talking there about early days of Browniegod and how they started, their challenges. So if you haven't found your answers, I'm sure just go back to the beginning and you will find them. Worst case, just reach out to Browniegod on social media. They're there. Yeah.
Are you going to be reposting the video?
Yes.
So yeah, they can probably see it after as well.
Cool. Okay. Have a good day ahead, and thank you so much for doing this. I've learned a lot.
It was really fun to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. We're closing this live